The root trees are dead.
The root trees are dead, and I am stupid. I don't think anyone heard what I said. Hopefully no one. I don't know if you guys heard the shit that just happened, or you just hear Charlie Simesicle screaming in the background. I would rather get bitten by 1,000 scorpions. 100 scorpions. Anyways, let's continue. This one yet. One of the final entries is called Clark from Roottrees' diary. Clark is getting married, and in my opinion, far too young. He's barely 18, for God's sakes. Danielle isn't much older, but only. So Clark and Danielle are married. Confronting them, it would make me a hypocrite. After all, Jacob and I got married at 16. Clark. Did I put down Clark? Okay, so that's her child. Parker's getting married, and in my opinion, to Danielle. Danielle Frank. Is like the rest of his generation, is a free spirit. What else do you call a group of kids growing up with more money than one person can spend? They all aspire to be musicians, artists and dancers, and all sorts of nonsense. Any discipline is Carl, but that's because my pop forced Clancy to send him to the academy. So Clancy Carl. Maybe I'm just getting old, but our generation was never so bad. My brothers all seemed to pursue paths of knowledge, and Edward even... So someone's named Edward. One of you fucks is named Edward. To take over Pop's department. So Edward became a president, I think. Or someone's department. That's Elias, but we don't know which Elias. One of you fucks, his name is Edward. Edward Roottree. One of you is named Edward Roottree. Edward is even... Okay, so we have... Maybe I'm just getting old. My brothers all seem to have paths of knowledge. And Edward is even set to take over Pop's department. Once Pop retires, and as for me, my first published book, Swashbuckle of My Heart. Check you out. Is based on pirate story I used to invent with Jacob when we were walking in the woods after school. I think he would be proud that Clark and I are carrying on his name. Even my cousins are doing well. Zach, not so bad, is not a not so bad president. So my cousins. Just put down males. We don't know. fight. Even my cousins are doing well. Zach's. So let's search up Zach root tree. His second cousin, Ernie Jr. So if he had a second cousin, wouldn't it be him or him? Okay, Carl Roottree was voted Watchman of the Year, blah 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 blah. Carl was chosen to work at a candy tree, blah 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 blah. Before they married, Carl's wife Brenda fashioned became a stay-at-home mother. Looking for a creative outlet, blah blah blah. Brenda. Okay, Renee. Including Carl's cousin, Jim Roottree. Jim. Jim. Jim Roottree. Rolling down to the city, barely the top 20 for a few weeks in 1979. According to the linear notes, it satirizes how a part of society was content with to remain indifferent to economic inflation and civil unrest in the Middle East, unless pop culture tricked them into caring. Somewhat ironically, listeners didn't seem to pay attention to the lyrics enough to trick them into caring. Instead, most of its play came from roller discos. Because it was such a product of the time, it doesn't get much play anymore, even on stations that play oldies. Maybe that's why you never heard of it before now. This image is from the action for seal copy. It has a sticker that it says only the great-grandson Elias Roottree. Only the great-grandson of Elias Roottree would make a disco this sweet. So, Elias Roottree. Great-grandson. So, not your grandson. So if I was not your grandson, but your great-grandson. But he has to have a real name. Elias Roottree couldn't make a disco this sweet. It is credited to Peter, whatever his name is, of MMM, music and lyrics Jim Roottree, and vocals by Jim Roottree and Diamond the Crows. Roottree is on the notable Roottree list in your evidence. He will be marked with a star on the tree. So I think that's him. Oh, that's a kid.
We're rolling, rolling, rolling on down to the city.
faith and love shall be. Me for you and you for me. Someday will come, though, that this tree will be the last of what was we. With passing years all paths diverge, rivers rambling onward surge. One source behind old memories, but find their ways to different seas. Someday these times will all be over. All be over. Two dries.
Okay, no, skip to 2. Get back to the Smoky Lounge. Anyways, let's go back. His cousin Jim Roottree. And his wife Diamond. So we have one photo. Where is she? Musician. Musician, right? Yeah. The duo, according to many sources you find, is considered the one-hit wonder due to the disco song Rolling Down the City. Now in your events, Jim writes major songs and plays the guitar and often sings. Diamond is considered by fans to be the band's singer. The band never had another hit, but has its fans who refer themselves as Diamond's Dazzlers. The rest of their music is more folksy and acoustic. Jim and Diamond have continued to release music from the 80s. Another album you find are Cherry Tree and Sounds of Laughter. Jim has become a bit reclusive. He hasn't made a public appearance since 1986. Okay. Let's try the cherry tree. A pretty general term, perhaps unsurprising. You find a lot of foliage. Okay, sound of laughter. Album, you can't even find pictures of the cover. It doesn't appear to have a very successful. Such a perk. Oh. Oops. James Rootree, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. And they had a daughter. As Diamond Dazzlers. Let's just copy this for later. Aha! Diamond's Dazzlers is the name of an official fan club for Jim and Diamond. You find it now a forum post called Cool Things You Got in the Mail on a random forum about video games. One reply mentions that Jim and Diamond still send out a Christmas card every year to Diamond's Dazzlers. It's accompanied by some pictures as well as some history about the fan club. Apparently, even though it is no longer available to join, Jim and Diamond still honor it themselves personally. There is a fierce debate in subsequent posts about whether it's cool or that's cool or pathetic. Amongst the pictures, Christmas cards from over the years, only one of them is relevant. The card from 1986 included a picture of Jim Diamond's youngest son, Wolf, as well as a note about his daughter's band. Okay, so that's important. This is important. Come here. Get over here. Youngest son would be over here. Oldest would be the daughter. Wolf. Where's Wolf? Wolf picture. We found a picture of a Christmas card from Jim Diamond to their fan club 2 years ago. Is Wolf listening to his parents' latest music? Okay. Candy, that was a recent name I just saw. So I play, okay, Candy. Candy Root Tree. She is musician. Just like her papa. There we go. Any entries you've got unlocked? Oh, some other things. Great. You're on a roll. I'm gonna... That's not a good idea. Hang on, let me do it. Great. You're on a roll. I'm here to hopefully keep that going. I have pictures of the Root Trees reunion from 1970s. Carver's office was a mess due to some pipes breaking. But I also found some papers. They seemed important. You found 9 blood relatives so far. I'll have a bit more to share after 9 months. And remember, not even with new evidence. Remember, even with new evidence, don't forget notable root trees. Even family members you've already placed on the root tree can sometimes help with just some bit more research. 9 more! Okay, more. What do I get? What the fuck? Ew. These are so probably AI photos. Just from that. What's this? Stephen Jones for City Council. This was buried under a ton of mail that Carl left in his inbox. It had a handwritten note attached to it that seemed personal. It's a flyer about a candidate for local office, Stephanie Jones. On the back, it's excerpts from a newspaper article from the Butler County Times. Just need to go through something real quick. Let's just go back. Okay. This one can help me find one more person. Had a daughter around the same age as Renee. Let's see. Let's see Edward Roottree. Miracle Retreat. Okay, Miracle Retreat. You find websites for Miracle Network. A production company run by the Miracle It's quite a bare bones, but it has following blurbs. Witness the testimonies of Miracle's Retreat. Miracle Retreat arrived so late in his mother's life that the doctors swore that he wouldn't survive his first year. His mother and father, Elias and Gwyneth, so he's the first 5. A flyer for a flyer for the 3 Generations of Miracles tour. The flyer is a few years old. It comes from 1996. Miracle Jr., who said it would be the world famous. Wait a minute. And his wife Nicole. Your Miracle Jr. Youth pastor. And his wife Nicole. So my cousin Elias. My cousin third. Pastor. You sure? I have a feeling he was a preacher too. Wow, this man must have been really full of himself. Miracle, miracle. And his wife Nicole, said to be a youth pastor. Miracle Root Tree, who is the flyer says is a special appearance. Okay. Sorry, I had itchy leg. Okay. Miracle Root Tree arrived in his mother's life. Named him Miracle because they thought it was impossible. He was younger than his brother and older sister by over 14 years. Oh, he's just a boy. He's just a wee lad. They thought that it was impossible with a birth that late. The final child of his generation was nearly torn apart by countless health problems. But still, with the power of God on his side, he persevered and he triumphed over these complications and even regained his sight to spread the healing word of Almighty. Whoa. Phony, fake. 23 years later, Miracle Root Tree Jr. arrived, became the famous Lord's second vessel of the higher power. At 18, he unburdened himself from the Root Tree name and took his father's testimony to a whole new level via the power of television. Miracle Jr. spread the gospel entirely over England. He since left glamour, glitz, and behind. Thus, the power of the Lord is coming to your town near you. Okay. Miracle Network. You find a Miracle Network, a production company with a retreat estate. It's quite bare bones. Okay, yeah, we read this. So Nicole Metz. Nope. Mirko Jr. doesn't go by his full name. In materials, instead it's shortened by Mirko Jr. Televisionist. That his wife, Edith's sister in disguise. Edith Jacobson. Find a link that seems in peril but partly corrupt. County Times. Edith Jacobson. A water article about Edith Jacobson. It also mentions about Helen Roottree. When she was 18, Edith and her sister were arrested for trespassing. Okay. Okay, let's read. There's a crime. Okay, in 1971, she was 18 and he was arrested for trespassing. Church in Butler's County. They were pretending to be church employees in an attempt to get to the room where the church's houses their weekly tidings. The church didn't press any charges. They were caught by Helen Roottrees, who was there at the time her husband Miracle was away preaching. Helen Roottrees was quoted as saying, "Jesus forgives, and so do we. The Lord works in mysterious ways, and I am confident He has brought these young women to us for a greater purpose." Edith Jacobson. But who is the sister? While her husband Miracle was away. Let's look up Helen Lee Dawn. Lennon. Lennon. The Butler County Times appears to have many articles related to Butler County, including people C and J. It also mentions that it was performed with Jim's cousin and Diamond's sister. Hang on, let me look at the names. Let's check out Kim. Or Jane. There they are. Listed on the talent for hire site, wedding singer. Way down. Okay. credential section of her biography, it mentions she got her start as a young girl when she was Jane the Cruise of... The Lucky the Cruise. It also mentions she contacted her agent in the event that you actually wish to hire her, that all it inquires about her past or her sister would be ignored. Jim's cousin. Okay, didn't get to finish this though. Let's look up Stephanie Jones. You learned from the election results page that Stephanie Jones is a candidate for council. City council won her campaign on election day about a month ago. You've had No mention of the roottrees in any articles about her. Stephanie also has a very bare-bone website campaign. Okay. Most recent mention of Stephanie Jones is small reports detailing election results last month. The last month of elections. Stephanie apparently won her election. She will also find a full version of the newspaper clippings on the back of the campaign mailer. While most of is unimportant, you find the following. Stephanie Jones, born Stephanie Landon until her marriage to local business owner Brian Jones. Lived in Butler her whole life. She grew up in a home without a father. So she grew up in a home without a father. With my mother and her partner, I essentially had an entirely female influence. She was the lesbian. Oh my god. Got the two girly pops. So, where's the adopted one? Got remarried. I think it's this one. She was female. Got remarried to a female, essentially and they had to adopt. So I think it's this one. Stephanie, my girl, you married into a lesbian home. Lesbian home. You get married into a lesbian home. Congratulations, you didn't it. Landon. The husband was something Jones. Until her marriage with the local business Brian Jones. So I think you were adopted. Okay, what does it say? Stephanie may have grown up in an unconventional family, to say at least, but in her words, it was all still full of love. And now, 22 years later, with a baby in her due around Christmas. Okay, wait. She had a baby. Okay. Due around Christmas. Her message for voters is simple. Love is our future. Carl, I know we don't see eye to eye when it comes to the candy company, but if you could talk to your girls about putting out a statement supporting Stephanie, she could use the publicity your daughters bring. Don't let your conflict spread to the next generation. With no father. She also could be right here. Maybe we don't get the lesbians. Oh. I'll have to think about it. I'll have to see. We'll have to see. We might get the lesbians. Since we Stephanie grew up in a household without a father. With my mother and her partner, I essentially had an entire family influence, female influence. She is distant cousins of the roottrees. Her mother is Caroline, a local artist who has appeared on the front page of Butler Times. Caroline Roottree. Hang on, let's look. Caroline Morden. You find a cover story about local artist installations, including one by Caroline Morden. let the women be lesbian. Beauty of women! This woman is a lesbian and I can see it from a mile away. Accompanied by the story. There's an image of Caroline standing beside a large metal sculpture of a mermaid. It's captioned Caroline standing next to her sculpture of Atlantis Burden. This is a sculpture is one of many words featured in her upcoming book Self-Portrait. Okay, Caroline Morton, where are you? Oh! An image, story of a local artist. Okay. Mostly black and white pictures of Caroline art and centerpieces is not she's called convoluted portraits of self-portraits at different ages, sketches of 25 to 30. Certainly not have been added to your evidence. In the intro, Caroline talks about the influences she was one youngest generations. In her late teens, she felt betrayed when her sister Gwendolyn and cousin Bonnie settled for. We got a lesbian, baby! Settled for boring men. She dislikes her brother, Dr. Wilson. She calls completely bogus. Their marriages led her to double down her passions of art and the environment. She married a man who was the opposite of boring, which was an overcorrection. She comes up strongly against the roottrees company effect on the environment and ruse how she was not able to convince her father, Zeke. Okay, everybody. The art and beauty of women. See, she also explains her marriage, that her marriage to Mark led to the most violent moments of her life, all negative. The only good thing that ever gave her was her daughter. So that means she's over here. Damn it, we don't get the lesbians. So she must have divorced him. Caroline Morden. So wait a minute, is she... Her marriage to Mark. Oh, Wolf! You should go put him there. Put a Wolf. Go on, Wolf. Literally a child. Mark. Let's see if Mark's a root tree. Nope, Mark's on Landon. Is an artist. And no female. Because it can't be this one. this root tree over here. We just need to figure out who's Zeke. Caroline talks about the influences talks about influences. She was one of the youngest in her generation. Her brother. I think it's her brother. In her late teens, she felt betrayed when her sister what's her sister? She has a sister. Search up one This is a photo. It was attached from your employer. Here's a bonus. When I pulled it out of the water damage, it was free spirits. Picture of free spirits out of the frame. This fell out. On the frame, this fell out too. Written on the back of the photo says Gwen and the boys. Funeral picture. This photo came with a letter from Carl. Had the letter framed and kept the photo nearby. The letter says, "To Carl and Brenda." There it is. To Carl and Brenda, I'm sorry that you are unable to make it to the funeral. It's a tradition to have it within 24 hours, and Ernie let's see, and Ernie, more than anyone else on the earth, knew how busy your job can be. Ernie was a man full of love, not only for his family, but for his family's legacy. He had an immense amount of pride for the work you three did together, as well as how Carl has carried on for him after taking over. As for myself, it is impossible to express my gratitude enough for rescuing us from the panic and burden of endless bills. Though it was caught too late for him to get a donor on the donors list. The company took care of us beyond our wildest expectations. It went unsaid at the time, but Ernie and I knew it had to have been Carl. That convinced the trust, and that it was no coincidence that it happened shortly after you visited Brenda. Up until the end, Ernie and I had to stay strong, especially for Nicole's sake. We could never have done that without you two fighting for us. Love, Debbie. Love much, Debbie. Let's go to this one. Okay. This photo has a note attached from your employer. Apparently, every 20 years or so, the Roots would hold a big reunion and recreate an old family photo. This is the one from the 70s. And Carl's a teenager. These are some ugly fuck people. Holy shit. Carl's a teenager in the middle. That's a fucking teenager? And Pice bursts in Carl's office. The back of the photo, in childish French writing, it says November, where also a large number of cursive signatures include Bonnie, next President Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Jim Roottree. I think that's Jim. Come on, I'm trying to get to it. So that's a little girl, not a boy. Carl is right in the middle. That would be Carl, I think. And cousin Bonnie. Bonnie would be somewhere around here. Bonnie Hudson. She especially dislikes her brother-in-law, Dr. Wilson. Convince her father. Zeke Wilson. Oh no. Zachariah. Zachari. Zachari. Morning. It's already 1 o'clock in the morning? Holy shit. Okay, I might go to bed soon. I'm actually getting a little bit tired. After this guy. Oh. Dr. Steve Williamson. Three kids. My dad is the best dad in the entire world. He treats every patient care. He will treat your children like he would me, my big brother, and my sister. So my big brother. Credited to the Jason. Jim Wilson. Steve Wilson. Steve Wilson, fun games, apparently it's the Roottrees sisters. Picture from Awful Children. Quote credited to his child Jason. That's probably Jason. And then you're probably Zeke. Literally a child. Oh! Oh, because I have to get a job down. Okay. Probably in college. Yeah, so... Let's save it now when I go to bed. We are now safe to turn off the root trees are dead. And now I go to bed. Anyways,